Greetings. In this series of talking about what we can do with Blackboard and how we can really incorporate a lot of the tools that we have in Blackboard, is one of the topics I want to talk about is that of the discussion. Now, I went into the tools page. I went right up here where the home is, and depending on your course, and you can talk to your designer as well, you find the discussion board. Now, if you're not using the discussion board, I really recommend that you do, because this is one way where you can take information that I use it in the face-to-face, for instance. I ask the students to come and in discussions in the classroom, I'll take that question that we're having, that really spirited or fun discussion, I'll put it into the learning management system, and then I'll have the students then continue that discussion later on and expect them to be doing some commentary as well. And so what I found is those students that don't really talk a lot in class really can put some stuff down on paper. And this gives us a better understanding of what's going on. Anyway, I like using this for the discussion, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this, because I think it's one of those areas that it's important that we really actively use. This is another way of really kind of taking attendance. I can sit in here and say, okay, for this week, I need this discussion. I need you to be in discussion. And then I can go back and check and say, yes, the student was in here. And especially with the way the feds are coming down, you really need that. You need to find a way to really attend to those students. So, with that, I'm just going to give you an example of what I have here. I have what's called my online office. This is where students can post a question if they want, or they have a question, or they're really kind of concerned about an assignment. They can put that here, or maybe they need to ask a question, or here's a question I want to ask in class. They can put that in here. I can respond to it here, and all the students get to see the response. Instead of that email, that private email that comes to me, if it's something that I think more than one student would probably be asking, but this is the students asking, this is a good place for it. I also have what's called the student lounge. This is just kind of a hangout. Remember when you have that little part there, you take that break and you meet the students over here at the cafeteria and have a bag of popcorn, whatever the case may be, and you talk. Or maybe this is where you talk beforehand or after. Or maybe just you need to ask questions about how was English 5, 405, or whatever the case may be. So here's a way that students can be asking questions. They can exchange information, phone numbers if they want. Of course, there are limitations. You need to make sure they understand the FERPA issues. But this is a way that they can really get together and really communicate just with themselves. I don't even go into it. On occasion, I do, just to see to make sure there's no bullying and make sure there's no violations of FERPA or anything like that. Or they may be asking questions about the class in here, and they're not asking in that. But I really don't participate in the student lounge. I do have one that I call my class expectations. This is where I tell the students exactly what I expect. And this is just a rehash of what I've mentioned in the syllabus, and the course schedule, and how to do a paper and all that business, some of the class expectations here. And so some of the very basics, putting in maybe I may put a copy of the rubrics in there. I also put a place in here for student introductions. Whether I'm teaching a face-to-face or an online class or whatever, I really like the students to participate in putting their information in here, because it always gives me a chance to go back and look at what's going on, who they are, where they come from, and all. In one particular period of time, I had a problem with the text. The text wasn't coming through, so I put some information in here to let the students know what's happening with that. I also talk about term paper and research. This is where I say, here's what I expect for the paper, here's what I expect for the research and the assignments, and then they respond back saying, here's my topic. And then I don't have to worry about having a note or an email that I have to be concerned with. I can always come back here and look. And then, of course, every week I have some form of discussions. Now, and as you see here, I have a number of discussions, weeks, all the information that I need these students to discuss. And this is a course that I teach at Embry-Riddle. It's a safety course, and I wish I had some of my grad courses so you can see how those were laid out as well. I also add something here that's called the cafe. Now what you see is you see a repeat here because I pulled out of some different courses, some different things that I was doing, just to kind of give you an idea that they all a little bit different. It just really depends on what it is that you're looking for. If you notice here, the week 5 discussion is a lot different than, let's say, the activity 5 discussion here, okay? Because I kind of laid that out, built that out a little bit further. And I put the cafe in here. This is where we talk about football, okay? It's kind of like the student lounge. You know, we talk about football, we talk about what's going on. And that's how the discussion is really how we kind of lay it out. But I want to create a discussion. How do I do that? I get that question quite a bit, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on Forum, because that's where it is. And in this case here, I'm going to create that forum, and the title of it is the forum is taking the test. And I put in here my message. If I have a video, I can also put in here my video on that subject. And I can click on here and create the links. And we've talked about links and other sites as well. And at this point, I'm not going to get a whole lot of detail because I'm using Internet Explorer. But you can type in here your URL, or if you already have it in the content, you can put it here. Always my recommendation is open it up in a new window. It makes it a lot easier for the students, and they can come back and forth and look at this stuff. So that's one of the suggestions that I have. You can put pictures in here. You can put attach a PowerPoint presentation if that's what you have, or if you have a PDF or you have another document. How available do you want this forum? When do you want it to happen? Sometimes in classes I would have these set up to where they open up about 3 days before that week started, especially if I was really trying to control the students, especially those that really like to get gung-ho and they try to complete the class, you know, all 14 weeks in the first 2 weeks of class. So a lot of times I found out if I could slow the students down here, I could do that. I can make it available or keep it going. There's different ways as far as discussions, as far as the forum settings. If they want to see other threads, they have to create a thread. I always like that. When I pulled that a couple of times, I had a lot of blowback from the students regarding it, but it got their attention. I can grade this forum. If I want to grade this is one good way of keeping the attendance for this. You can allow them to subscribe to threads, not allow subscription. I just leave it on the standard here. So this is the way it is. I try not to mark anonymous posts, although on occasion I do. I can allow the author to delete their own posts or not. And I can go through this and set this up. And I also allow file attachments if they have it. Sometimes I find it difficult because the student wants to respond in Word. I had a student complain one time because they were using an open source word processing document and they couldn't read the Word document. So I really have to make sure the students understand all that as a possibility. And so with that, I can then create and submit this, and this is now my form. And normally what they do is they show up at the very bottom, and well, I'm missing it here. Anyway, oh yeah, that's because I'm on page 2. I have a lot of these. Taking the test, my message, right there it is. Now it's time to get into it. The students, if they don't understand it, may want to walk them through a discussion. They can create the thread, and they can either respond however they want, and they can put their post in there, and then they can submit it. So that's really how it is. That's how you do discussions. If you're looking at that graded, if it's a graded one, then you want to make sure that you check the grade center, make sure that it's set up right. Again, get a hold of your designer, have them help you out. This just gives you an idea how to use discussions in teaching the class. So hopefully this will help you along. My opinion is just test it out. Try it out. See how it works. Talk to your students. Find out what they're interested in, how they want to do this. Because I tell you, once I get involved in this, it makes it a lot easier for the class. You have things documented. You understand what the students are coming from. There's no question. Anyway, that's what my take on the discussion. I hope you're able to use it successfully.